If you've ever messed around with data transmission, you've definitely come across the term baud. And you might think, hey, it's just another word for speed, right? Well, the real story is actually way more interesting. So let's dive in and really unravel the difference between how fast a signal is changing and how much information it's actually carrying.
All right, let's just get right to it. The big question that trips up so many people. Are baud rate and bit rate the same thing? The answer, as you're about to see, gets right to the heart of how we send pretty much all of our information today.
I mean, come on, you've heard them used like they're the exact same thing, especially if you're old enough to remember that classic screeching sound of a dial-up modem, but they're not the same. And getting the difference is totally key to understanding modern communications. So to clear all this up, we have to start with the absolute basics. What exactly is a baud? The best way to think about it is like this. It's the rhythm, the pulse, of a digital signal.
Okay, here's the official textbook definition. A baud is the number of symbol changes happening on a wire or in the air every single second. It's a measure of how many times the signal itself actually changes its state, like a change in voltage or frequency. And this is the most important part right here. Baud is all about the speed of the signal. It is not about the speed of the data. It's literally just counting how many times the signal changes, no matter what information is packed inside each of those changes. And hey, fun fact for you, where does this weird word even come from? Well, it's named after Émile Baudot, who was a huge pioneer in telegraphy. His work, way back in the day, laid the foundation for how we measure this stuff. Okay, so now let's get into the part that causes all the confusion in the first place. Let's talk about the one simple case where baud rate and bit rate are actually the exact same thing. So if you go way back to the earliest and most basic digital systems, the whole relationship was super straightforward. One change in the signal, like a little pulse of electricity, carried exactly one bit of information, either a 0 or a 1. That's it, a simple one-to-one deal. So in that world, if you were changing the signal 1,000 times per second, and each of those changes carried just one bit, well, your baud rate was 1,000 and your bit rate was 1,000 bits per second. They were identical. And this is where the whole mix-up really began. But, of course, technology didn't just stand still. Engineers figured out this incredibly clever way to completely shatter that one-to-one rule, which is what made our connections so much faster. Okay, this is where it gets really cool. Instead of a simple on or off signal, what if you used a signal with, say, 4 distinct voltage levels? Well, all of a sudden, each of those levels, each symbol, can represent a unique 2-bit combination. You can have 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. And just like that, you are sending twice the amount of data at the exact same signal speed. The baud rate hasn't changed at all. Now, this isn't just theory. This is literally the foundation of modern high-speed internet. So let's make it real. Let's look at an example from something called a 64 QAM modem, which is a technology used in things like your cable internet. So instead of just 2 or 4 states, this system uses a whopping 64 different, unique signal states. Each one is a very specific combination of the signal's properties. And if you have 64 unique symbols, how many bits can each one represent? Well, the math is pretty straightforward, and it gives us this number, 6. Every single time the signal changes, it's transmitting a full 6 bits of data. And there you have it. The result is just mind-blowing. The bit rate, the actual speed of your data, is 6 times higher than the baud rate, which is just the speed of the signal itself. You're getting this incredible 6x multiplier on how much data you can push through. So why do we go to all this trouble, right? I mean, why does this distinction between the signal speed and the data speed actually matter in the real world? Well, the payoff is absolutely huge. This is the magic that lets us squeeze unbelievably high data speeds out of channels that have limited physical bandwidth, like our old copper phone lines or the cable running into your house. It's what makes modern cable internet possible, and it's even used for encoding the data on an audio CD. And, this relationship isn't always a nice, clean, whole number. As you can see here, different systems use all kinds of different encoding schemes. Yeah, our simple link is 1-to-1, and that 64 QAM modem is 6-to-1. But look at some of these others. Some network technologies have these weird ratios where 4 bits of data get represented by 3 signal states. Even the music on your old CDs uses a wild system where 8 bits are encoded into 17 states, all to make sure the data is reliable. So look, if you take away only one thing today, please let it be this. Baud is the rhythm of the signal, how many times it changes per second. Bit rate is how much information, how much actual data is being carried with that rhythm. They are definitely related, but they are not the same thing. And really, that brings us to a final thought, doesn't it? Our appetite for more data, faster data, it's just endless. The challenge is always going to be the same. How do we invent new, cleverer tricks to pack even more bits into every single pulse of energy we send? The next big breakthrough in communication is probably going to be built on a wild new answer to that exact question.